Participatory video documentary of victims of grant corruption recently launched a partnership project with Transparency International to document the video of unheard victims who suffered economic crimes and human rights violations during the two-decade rule of Yahya Jammeh, with the theme giving voice to victims of grant corruption. The project seeks to produce a platform and document the voices of victims who did not have the opportunity to share their stories with the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission (TRRC) and the Jammeh Commission of Inquiry. The project idea is more than just giving a space for victims to testify in a safe space, but to amplify their voices for them to be heard. Speaking at the event, Cornelia Abel, Senior Project Manager, Transparency International, outlined the significance of the event.
We are currently cooperating with investigative journalists of the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, OCCRP, and they conducted a large investigation into a misappropriation by Jammeh himself under his Jammeh regime, which is called the Great Gambia Haste. It was published in March this year in the Gambia as well, and we have pledged to make to create more impact out of those investigations, and so that's why we were looking for follow-up options, and this was one of the options we found, to cooperate with local civil society to bring out the stories of victims of grant corruption under Jammeh as a start, to start a conversation about the impact of corruption on the country and on society as well.
Alaji I.S. Sonko, a victim, questioned the current government stand to the victims of the former regime.
Where is justice? This clarion call we've been calling for justice since the days of Yahya Jammeh. Now Yahya Jammeh is gone. It's 3 years now. And this same call is not still answered. The same call is still being made. What is wrong with the president? I am sending a message right now directly straight to the president, for anybody who can make him hear it, that let him make sure that justice takes its course. Let him do what is right between him and his maker. He cannot make people suffer like this for indefinitely. Me as an individual, I've been suffering for 10 solid years, immutably and perpetually, without end and without change. How many of you here can survive that? With a family of 6 children going to school, every morning when you have to wake up at 4 o'clock at dawn, not because you want to go and pray, but because pressure has woken you up. Tell the president, anybody who has his ear, tell him I, Alhaji L.S. Sonko FSL, said that he should come and do justice for us. We need it. It's our right. We are all Gambians and we are all born here. If we cannot claim our right here, which country do you go to and to try to claim your right there when you have no right in your own country?
Taslima Jallo, Programs Manager, Gambia Participates, highlights the challenges faced, saying that
firstly, it has to do with trust. Most of these people, if you look at their stories, they've been living with it for ages and they don't know who to trust with their stories. So in the beginning, it was so very challenging. For instance, the community of Kermothali, you look at the community, there are issues with the former president has to do with religious intolerance, and they have their own set of religion, and then the former government or former president was not tolerant in religion. So they felt like everybody is going to be sensitive with their case, and for them to be open up to everybody was going to be, it's going to bring the same, issues that they've had. So it was difficult for us to get them open up. But eventually, along the line, we were able to convince them, because realizing that we are there to support and raise their voices, and also for people who have not had their stories to hear the other side of the story. Because you look at the government side, they only talk of the other negative side, but not from the other side. So you only hear it from one side. So that was the main challenge.
Using participatory video techniques, the victims learned basic filming techniques and were able to independently document their stories, facilitated by Gambia Participates, in line with the outgoing strategy to investigate public sector corruption and involve voiceless to marginalized communities that have been affected, with the aim of battling with lines of communities through promoting good governance. Reporting for Paradise TV News, Umisao.